Peace is sought by those who can. Liberty is given by those who can. Who can? Who cannot?
Now, if you're poor, you don't have to listen to this video. You'll be used as fodder soldiers to sack any country that does not support the Rothschild's central global banking system. One way of spotting a scam is when they try and sell you something that you already had or you never needed. That is what 159 is. You perhaps haven't heard of it. It's a so-called government-backed effort to reduce banking fraud.
Sought by those
Since
who
when
can.
did governments ever
Liberty
care
is given
about civil
by those
government
who can.
banking fraud?
Who can?
In my case,
Who
it was the Co-op Bank.
cannot?
I'm not picking on them. They've boycotted Israeli goods. And maybe that's why the 159 scam is targeting them. I made a bank-approved transfer, £20,000. It was then held by the 159 scheme as being suspicious. And if you talk to your friends, you probably know someone who's had a bank account frozen in the last few years. There's a money supply concern. Just try getting cash out to buy a car or anything else of value. You'll have to give justification to have access to your own money. I also have personal experience with Zopa, another bank I kind of like, where I transferred £20,000 to a broking share dealing account with Hargreaves Lansdown.
By those who
they
can.
received the money. It
Who
showed
can?
as a credit
Who
in my share dealing
cannot?
account, but I couldn't use it. It wasn't available. Hargreaves Lansdown didn't know what was going on. Their only explanation was that it was not settled. And this is a new term they themselves didn't really understand. But they were, when I say didn't really understand, that's lay speech. They didn't understand it at all. They said it was akin to having received a cheque that hadn't cleared. But when you receive a cheque, you at no point have the balance of the cheque showing in your account. If it doesn't clear, you never ever affects your balance, you don't get the money. This is new, and this was another example of the 159 global Israeli financial scam of Netanyahu. And I suppose
Peace
not necessarily
is sought
Israeli,
by
but the
those who
people
can.
aren't doing anything about it.
Liberty is given by those who
In
can.
the same way the British people aren't
Who
doing
can?
anything about their lot either.
Who
The
cannot?
big warning here is that you will actually lose all your money. The only people that will survive are the likes of the police and the criminals and other people who rely on the state for their living in terms of social housing or benefits of some kind or other. Anyone with any entrepreneurial skill and the ability to earn money is going to be hit. It's no longer enough to just pay tax. They now want it all. Laugh as much as you like at me, but you have been warned. So 159 is all about scanning everyone's bank transfer to enable more easily, with Global Digital ID, to just take your money with a non-judicial unilateral decision.
Is
For
sought by
instance,
those who
those
can.
people arrested for supporting
Liberty
Palestine Action
is given
have had their
by
bank
those who
accounts
can.
frozen. The Ombudsman
can?
no longer helps
Who
Thank You
cannot?
Zionist government, which is why you may have often seen an advert from lawyers offering to help privately. They won't help either. It's Netanyahu's idea to have a global cyber banking security system. How crazy is that? The problem with accepting such a notion is that governments, except maybe Thatcher or JFK or Nixon perhaps, have never cared about the public's finances. Now, just taking those examples, JFK was assassinated, an assassination attempt was made on Thatcher, and Nixon's reputation was completely destroyed. They've used crime as a divide and rule tactic, so they can't be worried about civil bank transaction losses.
Peace
So what is this
sought
all
by
about?
those who can.
We've also had the
Liberty
opening of a
is
program
given
exit
by
on
those
mobile
who can.
phones, supposedly
can?
to be able to send a
Who
nuclear attack
cannot?
message out nationally. Utter nonsense. There's always been a facility to send a global national message. The government by asking for a program exit in an operating system is essentially giving the government access to any function within the operating system. They can basically do anything. They can look at your phone banking without the operating system being aware. And this is a function for tomorrow. It's infrastructure for dictatorship tomorrow. So getting back to 159, if you've got any money, you are at risk of losing the whole lot. Because of whatever your political persuasion, you're protesting that you've been fined with that judicial system involvement, not that
Peace
you've been
is sought
fined
by
without
those
any
who
judicial
can.
system involvement.
Liberty is given by those
Not
who
that that
can.
would help very much anyway.
Who can?
So what can we
Who
do? We can't just buy
cannot?
gold. Synthetic gold for electronics is just around the corner, making gold pretty valueless. I actually don't know what you can do, but I'm buying land so I can farm and hopefully trade. And stop paying taxes. We are taxed at every level, and then some, with stealth taxes like speeding fines, charities for child's cancer, and other fixed penalty nonsense. And it all goes towards funding a war against those that want to give us liberty, those that want to have a sound financial system, not a high inflation fractional banking system. And if I'm wrong, then try and squeeze your small brains for a minute and think about the digital ID
Peace
push.
is
We
sought
don't
by
have the
those who
technology
can.
to implement a sound digital ID
Liberty
system.
is given by
But
those
if we
who
did,
can. Who can?
then we would also have a
Who
sound digital
cannot?
voting system. So why do we have governments? Historically, there have been no such technologies on the table. So you have to vote for someone in order to hope that they vote in your favour for the general public to make decisions for you. Democracy. But now you can make those decisions yourself. Of course, some people shouldn't be allowed to vote. They're too stupid. But if we had a digital voting system, then the ministers could actually read the legislation, they could justify their decisions. People would become more politically educated and would be able to make a sound democratic choice, not leave it to a bunch of illiterate, privately funded Labour,
sought by
as
those
we
who
are
can.
now, cabinet ministers,
Liberty
in
is
power
given
on
by
an
those who
11%
can.
population vote.
Who can?
So
Who
think
cannot?
again. I'm no madman. I'm the most competent IT technical architect there ever was, and I can solve any problem within boundaries, impeding boundaries. Of course, I can't solve World War III because I haven't been given authority for that. Most people won't listen to this. But if you've got any money at all, look up the 159 Global Financial, whatever you want to call it. Follow 1984's whistleblowing move to the country and become as self-sufficient as possible using bartering and food for food and healthcare and sustenance.